Hey everybody, Joel here with DesignFlow Labs, and in this video we want to talk about bringing together all of the elements of our low-code collaboration and automation adoption to build towards our most advanced state. So just a quick recap from the last video. In the last video we were talking about starting to move towards this concept of a digitally unified business, where we were leveraging Podio, a share file platform, to bring together all of our teams, all of our collaboration around different elements of work, whether that be a sales opportunity, a customer project, a new request form for automation ideas, maybe customer support cases, bringing everything together around that type of platform, which allows us to really start to make better data-driven decisions, leverage automation to scale process efficiency. And start to look at some of these automation capabilities and align them with our business objectives. Now, what I want to do today is start to talk about how we can execute as a digitally unified business. So in the last video, if we were moving towards this concept, what I want to talk about today is how you can execute as a digitally unified business. And what that means is, we're executing with some of these key concepts in mind, like seamless synchronization or communication. In this scenario, all of our collaboration and communication, or at least most of it, in the context of the things we're working on, again, whether they be a sales opportunity, an HR support case, a customer support case, maybe some kind of project that we're working on, all of that communication and collaboration is coming out of disjointed tools like email and text message and Slack, and it's coming into the context of the things we're working on. Next, we're talking about building systems of guidance and decision. So, whereas before when we were organizing our information and building out categorization, what we should be doing now as we execute as a digitally unified business is we should be using those data fields, those categorizations, and the way we've organized our information to really help guide our employees and our customers through any given process. So, now we're executing in a way that we're not just tracking data for the sake of having data in a system. We're capturing data and leveraging that data and information so it can help tell us where we should go next, who should be involved next, what the customer needs to be aware of, so on and so forth. So finally, we're going to talk about a couple of these things tie together. The idea of relentless automation, fostering this kind of environment where people understand some of the capabilities, the broad capabilities of low-code collaboration and automation platforms, and they're looking for new use cases and new ways for platforms like this to help them. And we're doing that in a way that helps what I call productivity-proof our future. So we are absolutely taking in some of these automation requests, some of these automation ideas, some of the things that we've been starting to build out. And we're starting now to really align those two business objectives to say, okay, if this is where we want to be as a business in the next 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, what are the things we're going to need to do to be able to scale to that position? And what's the role that automation plays in helping us do that? So those are the things we'll cover here. One other thing I wanted to touch on, and I often share this with clients, is if I had to put the idea of a digitally unified business into a picture, it kind of looks like this. And the general concept of this is we want to connect the front office and back office. And again, depending on the type of work you're doing, maybe the industry you're in, maybe the department you're a part of, that work's going to look a little bit different, in terms of specifics. But overall, the goal is the same. We want to take, processes that were previously broken up between different teams, between different tools, disconnected throughout the organization internally and externally, and we want to bring those together. So, as far as the back office goes, we want to do things like bring together sales teams and projects teams, to better align and communicate on a holistic customer engagement. Maybe we want to bring together executive teams and HR teams, to better look at resource management and hiring, onboarding, figure out, the different types of things employees are asking about, and then externally, maybe we want to do things like provide better experiences and routing of certain pieces of requests for customers or vendors or suppliers. That could look like customer onboarding, vendor onboarding, could look like customer support. So there's all different ways that we can leverage, platforms like this, again, to better connect, our front office to back office and move work seamlessly, move communication seamlessly between these teams internally and between our external teams as well. So that said, let's talk about at a very high level, what that could look like in a low-code collaboration and automation platform. In our previous videos, we used Podio, which is a platform provided by ShareFile, very powerful low-code and automation platform. But what I've done is I've taken us up to the highest level of the platform. So you can see here we're in the employee network. And you can think of the employee network as kind of like the common room, maybe the break room or the central lobby. This is where all employees can come together, get updates from, different teams as to what's going on. They can talk about different topics and ideas. We can build, notifications from different workspaces into this feed, depending on, who the employees are and what they have access to. But we can also use this as kind of a launching point into collaborating with other parts of the organization, right? So, down here you can see I've got some links. I've got an HR service request. Maybe I need to request time off or submit a change to benefits, or I've got a question about benefits. I can come here to fill that form out to engage the HR team. Maybe I'm a manager who needs to create a new job posting or start a new employee onboarding process. I can kick those off from here as well. Maybe we've got a very collaborative environment, around lead generation, and we want anybody in the organization to submit a new opportunity for the sales team to review and follow up with. We can do that from here as well. And then finally, like we talked about just a minute ago, we've got the ability for people to submit new ideas and requests to leverage automation, as it pertains to their work, their department, and maybe some of the manual processes, that they're experiencing in the organization. So, again, this is kind of the central launching point, for that type of collaboration for the organization. And then as a digitally unified business, what you would start to see built out from your foundation that we've talked about in previous videos is how these, teams in particular, track work and collaborate, how these teams together, track and collaborate on different pieces of information and work that flow between these teams. And then finally, how that information, gets communicated to and impacts our external teams and stakeholders, like our customers or partners or vendors or whoever the case may be. So what I want to do real quick is just kind of give you just a super high level overview. So, within our employee network, I've just got these ready and open in other tabs. We've got our customer engagement workspace. Again, this is where we brought together our sales organization and our project services delivery organization into a single workspace to better help them align on, not just building and contracting, proposed solutions for new clients, but then finally delivering and supporting those solutions as they're rolled out as well. One of the things we did is we built a workspace for a portion of our HR team. A portion of our HR team might be solely dedicated towards, recruiting and hiring. So how do they manage, new job postings? How do they manage the intake of candidates? How do they schedule the interviews? How do they track the offers that are outstanding? As a whole, how do they manage that process? Again, needing input and collaboration from other people within the organization. We built them a workspace to do that here. And then the final example, there's another group within HR that's solely responsible for the onboarding, of new employees, offboarding of employees that might be departing the organization, and handling certain HR requests that come in. So they've got a workspace, where they can see and access that kind of information, collaborate with other people within HR. We can do things like kick off, approval emails maybe to managers or people who are not part of this this workspace for security reasons, to help them interact with the data, as it comes in here and needs to be addressed. So a good example again of that could be an HR request that comes in. Maybe we don't have all managers living in this workspace where they can see all requests, but maybe we just need to send that manager an email with the information, about the request, in a way within that email, a button to either approve or decline or deny that request for time off. So all different things we can do here, again, kind of tying back to that general concept of connecting teams, organizing work, and automating information. So let's do this. What I want to do is also come back to this idea of relentless automation and productivity proofing. So as we get to this point where we're executing as a digitally unified business, we should be looking for all kinds of opportunities to automate processes within the organization, but we should also be looking at ways to enhance that automation through integration of things like artificial intelligence, or integration into third-party solutions. And what that could mean is maybe for our finance team, maybe it's an integration to QuickBooks or some other financial platform. Maybe for our sales organization or support organization, maybe there's an integration into some kind of chatbot to intake support requests. So as you mature and advance your automation capabilities and the way that you leverage automation for any given team, we should be looking at leveraging some of these things like integration and artificial intelligence to help us really push the boundaries of those things. So what I want to do as part of this video is kind of give you an idea as to what that could look like. This is just one example. There's countless examples that we just didn't have time to build into this demo. But what I want to do is I want to talk about this idea going back to submitting a request for automation. So again, from my employee network, I can come in here as any employee and say, you know what, I've got an idea I think could help us. Maybe I'm part of the customer engagement team, and maybe today, all of our intake for support cases comes through email. Just we haven't gotten to that point yet in our maturity. We've been doing a really good job of working together to track opportunities and deliver projects, but maybe support is the next thing we need to improve upon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and say, we do a good job of accepting these support cases, but we could really enhance it through internal routing and collaboration. Since we use Podio to do this, I'm just going to suggest, maybe we do that, here. This is something that is new. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that. So again, as any employee in the organization, I can submit that. And if I'm part of the customer engagement team, just so happens I'm somehow also part of the team that handles these requests that come in, I can see here that we've got something new. I can take a look and I say, oh, we've got a new idea. Let's go take a look at that. So we can see here that somebody submitted this idea that we should leverage Podio to handle customer support. We're currently handling it via email. I might look at this and say, you know what, this sounds great. There's other departments that are providing certain types of customer support that could leverage the same type of automation or same type of capability. But maybe I just haven't had enough coffee. Maybe I'm just trying to think of where would I even start with this. I could let the team know, all right, you know what, this is a good idea. We're in progress. Maybe through automation, we just kicked off an email to that user to let them know that, we heard you. We're looking at this. But maybe now, as somebody who's responsible for potentially delivering on this, I need to come up with some ideas as to how we would do this. What would a project look like to do this? What we've done in this case, again, going back to that concept of integration, to third parties and leveraging things like artificial intelligence or, machine learning for auto routing. What I've done is I've integrated this to ChatGPT, with a specific prompt that is, familiar with our organization, the things we do. And what I'm going to do is say, you know what, I've got some ideas, but I just want to bounce this off the wall, to see what other ideas are out there. So I'm going to say, I want to brainstorm the idea. Like, how would we go about a project to do this? So what I'm doing is I'm sending this through an integration over to ChatGPT. And this is coming back and it's going to give me some feedback. It's going to give me some brainstorming ideas. And it might not be perfect. Again, I just kind of whipped this up in a demo environment. But what it did is it leveraged artificial intelligence to say, you know what, that sounds cool. If we were to take on this kind of initiative, here's what an overview would look like. Obviously we want to leverage a digital workflow automation tool to help us, provide better support, drive down support times, time to resolution, all those kind of good things. So what would we need? Well, we're going to need a Podio integration. Currently we're doing this via email. We probably need to understand, the types of information that the team is working to get as part of that email, and start to design that out in Podio. As we do that, we're going to have to obviously customize and configure a support case application. Again, what fields do we want to capture? What fields can we auto-populate? Maybe based on user email address. We can capture and tie this back to a specific account or a specific project. We can, again, start to intelligently route some of these things. And then finally, something we need to think about is training. How are we going to get all of our employees up to speed on what we're doing? When we look at anticipated outcomes, again, just kind of brainstorming things. What are some of the key metrics that we should be looking at? Improved efficiency. Can we understand today our response time for support requests? If that takes on average 15 days, can we drive it down to 5? Can we drive it down to 10? How are we going to track and communicate our progress there? Do we need a dedicated space for people to do this? Or should we integrate it into our customer engagement space where all of our other customer information lives? Finally looking at things like how can we best streamline, the intake process? How can we make it as easy as possible for a customer to engage with our team, be communicated of the latest status, be connected with the team to resolve this as quickly as possible and make that experience, as good as we can. So some of the key tasks and takeaways, research and select an integration tool, kind of makes sense. I'm already using Podio. Work with IT to set up an integration and customize the Podio workspace, and develop a training program. So, not super detailed, but not bad either. Maybe I'm somebody that's, on this team, but not as familiar, with the process of handling support cases. So, again, you can tweak and fine tune, the prompts and the way this thing integrates to ChatGPT. But the overall concept being, as you get to this point where you start to, build, more advanced automation capabilities, we can do things like, approve this. This is a great idea. Let's do it. Now this has moved to an actual project, and we're going to align that project, to internal business metrics, and figure out who's going to be involved, when we're going to work on it. Do they have time to work on it? All kinds of different aspects there. So, all right. So that kind of wraps up our video. There's a lot of concepts in this series that we've introduced, everything from building your first application with a low-code, collaboration and automation platform like Podio, building your first application, getting started with automation, building and starting to build, more advanced automations, like we talked about, pivoting towards that idea, of a digitally unified business. And then finally here today, really starting to push the boundaries to say how many teams and processes, can we bring in and automate and collaborate within a platform like this. So we've covered a lot of ground, but, I would encourage you, if this is something that you're interested in or want to learn more about, or maybe you're using one of these platforms today, if you want to talk about, how you can keep moving forward or where you can get started, feel free to reach out to us. We've got these QR codes. You can follow us on social media. You can hit the Let's Get Started QR code and get connected directly to the team. Again, be more than happy to sit down, and really learn about where you're at today with your journey as it relates to low-code collaboration and automation, and help you craft a plan to really take things to the next level. So we hope you found this helpful, and until next time.